iRedditor.
What seems normal at 2 p.m. but scary at 2 a.m.?
A call from your parents.
Was 12:02 a.m. when I got the call. My dad passed away a couple months ago. It was around 10 p.m. when I got the call from my grandpa that my grandmother was in the hospital when she fell and broke her femur at 78 years old. Getting a call from family that late absolutely is not a good time. Best hope is that they're just really drunk and need somebody to talk to.
First, sorry for your loss. Second, getting a call from anyone in my family is a worrisome experience for me, as my family usually only uses calls for something unless it's urgent. Then we'll leave a message if the other person doesn't answer, or just keep calling if it's life and death. Happened once where I got 2 calls from my mom late at night because grandfather had a stroke. Quotations cause grandfather is convinced it's not a stroke, even though me, who's taken medical classes in college and 2 paramedics have told him it was a stroke.
My mom always leads with everything is fine whenever she calls me.
I wish my mom would do this. She likes to pull a Columbo. We have a whole normal convo, and at the end, oh, just one more thing. My heart stopped for 45 seconds, but I was in the hospital at the time and they got it going again. This was an actual thing that happened.
My dad did this to me with my adult daughter, who lives with him. Called and shot the shit for like 15 minutes, then, okay, guess I'll let you go. Oh yeah, your daughter is in the hospital. She was and is okay. Honestly, what a fuck?
With older parents, it is truly frightening.
Everything with old parents is frightening. My parents call me one day in early November. We need to tell you something. I think we are going to have Thanksgiving at your aunt's house. These two are 80 and 76. After a certain age, you should be prohibited from those sorts of call intros. Edit. These comments are fantastic. I thought I was the only person who had this shit happen all the time, and that maybe I was just being unreasonable. I now know that is definitely not the case.
Yes, mine are 79 and 77. This is true. Sometimes I'll get a text, please call as soon as you can. Turns out it's my mom just wanting to tell me a story.
Knock at the door.
I had this happen before. It was 2:30 a.m. and someone started pounding on my door yelling at me to come out there. Then another voice said, they know I'm home and they just want to talk. Then a third voice said, everything will be fine if I just go out there and talk to them. Then more pounding. My room was near the door, so I heard one of them say they'll be right back and have to go get something from their car. The other two keep talking and saying stuff like, we know you're in there. We just need to talk. The one eventually comes back and says, guys, this is the wrong apartment. He lives in apartment number. The group apologizes to the door for being so drunk, and they just wanted to talk to a friend who bailed on their night out.
Ever since that one video of 2 Texas maintenance guys trying to break into that apartment, I've been extremely paranoid about this stuff.
This happened to me the other night. I went to bed a little paranoid and woke up to a DoorDash receipt meant for my neighbor on the front door. Boy, did I feel dumb for assuming it was an axe murderer and not my drunk neighbor's pizza. Edit. Pizza. Not Domino's specifically, but same difference.
A while ago, my husband ordered some medication to be delivered by the pharmacy, as it was not possible for him to pick it up. It was supposed to be delivered at a normal time, such as 5 p.m., well before 9 p.m. Well, it's 10 p.m. and no delivery. We're in bed falling asleep. It's now past 10 p.m., and all of a sudden there is a pounding. Not knocking, but pounding at the door. I screamed in terror. It turned out to be the delivery guy, who was supposed to come much earlier. Not only was the pounding terrifying, but I also had no idea we were expecting a delivery. And the delivery guy was rude and swore at me when I got upset by being upset at getting woken up by pounding at the door.
A few years ago, it seemed like all my Amazon Prime deliveries were made by some guy in a 1997 Honda Accord after 9 p.m. They didn't knock, but I'd hear them. Now they just send me an email saying package will be delayed.
In more stressful times of my life, I'll occasionally deal with exploding head syndrome, sudden loud auditory hallucinations in the middle of sleeping. One happened when my husband was out of town and I was home alone, asleep in our bed. Sudden loud knocking on the locked bedroom door at 3 a.m. Dream? Hallucination? Polite murderer? I was wide awake in a second and frozen in fear. When I gathered my wits, I checked my living room pet cam and saw nothing but sleeping cats. Got up and checked the whole house with a knife and all lights blazing. It has happened a couple of other times, but that was terrifying.
Hearing an ice cream truck.
This idea is horrifying me for some reason.
It happened almost a year ago. I looked out my window, and the driver was driving slowly too. I couldn't sleep after that, to say the least.
I wonder if it was selling to children or finding children to sell.
Ice Cream Dude would have been bummed when my old ass came running outside with $3 for a SpongeBob ice pop. Nobody would want to buy me, I promise.
Whistling.
Scared the shit out of me with this answer.
Imagine you are about to sleep, and then you hear a faint whistle from somewhere. Since it's dark, you can't see anything. You think to yourself if it was real or just a dream, and then you hear it again, but a bit louder. Not enough to make it possible to know where it is coming from, just that it's closer.
Honestly, I have tinnitus, so I would just think it's that and go to bed. Sorry, serial killer. No fun for you.
Children screaming outside. During the day, you'd think they're playing. At night, you'd think they're getting murdered.
To be honest, even during the day, they often sound like they're getting murdered.
Swimming in the ocean.
Good one. I once asked my fiance how much money it would take for him to spend 10 minutes in the ocean alone at night, deep enough so that the water was at neck level. His answer was no.
The ocean itself looks scary for me at night.
This is why the Titanic disaster is so disturbing to me. Hollywood makes it out to be way brighter than in reality. Can't imagine being in a lifeboat in the middle of a dark ocean.
Same. Went once on beach during a new moon. Dark and very little ambient light. It was very unnerving, and I kept thinking, oh my god, what if there was a tsunami? It's clearly an irrational thought, but the not seeing beyond maybe 100 yards makes crashing waves very ominous.
One time, when I was younger and braver, I went surfing under a full moon. While beautiful, it was one of the scariest things ever. The ocean was absolutely black, and you only saw a wave once it was like 6 feet away, or just saw the stars disappearing.
The dog barking at nothing.
I see your barking and raise you, dog or cat making tense eye contact with the corner of the room.
The other night, I'm standing in the backyard with my dog, waiting for him to poop, when he suddenly comes from around a corner, walking very quickly but not yet running. As soon as he reaches me, he breaks into a full-out sprint, running towards the door to go inside, looking over his shoulder. Not at me, but at the darkness where he just came from. It was so human. I couldn't help but laugh, but also follow him quickly in case there really was a monster after him. LOL.
I see your tense eye contact and raise you. Dog cat running in from the dark hallway, growling at 3 a.m. on the dot 4 nights in a row. My cat really got me with this one.
Going into the basement.
Always scary, in my opinion.
Basements aren't very common in Australia, so my idea of them is very much from American pop culture. And yep, fuck that shit. Attics, too.
I live in Salem, Massachusetts, and our basements are ancient and terrifying.
I feel like the fact that it's Salem's Mass makes anything 10x more spooky.
Walking alone in the woods.
Oh my god. One time I took mushrooms and remember reading about going on hikes and thought it would be awesome to be out in nature, so I did. But I didn't account for it being 10 p.m. and it ended up being like the Blair Witch Project, and now I'm afraid of the dark.
Lol, I did the exact same thing once. My expectation, moonlight shining through the canopy, mixing with starlight and a cool beauty. Reality, shadowy figures running in my peripheral vision, and they were definitely planning to eat me whole.
A car driving without their lights on.
As someone who was born in the 90s in one of Houston's most dangerous area, I was told if we saw or heard certain things by my mom to seek safety. Was standing outside when I was maybe 12 with my older cousin near the railing in front of our door on the second floor of the apartment. Saw this and my cousin told me we should go inside. Not even 2 minutes later, whole neighborhood is being lit up by a semi-automatic fire, so you're absolutely right.
My wife was watching Dahmer Home Alone at night, which I absolutely teased her for, with our big dog asleep on the couch next to her. It's summer, windows are open, she's in the living room. All of a sudden, the dog goes from dead asleep to whipping his head around, looking over her shoulder and running for the window. She turns and looks over to see a guy standing on our stoop about 8 feet away. After what must have been an extremely terrifying 5 seconds and a look of panic on my wife's face, the guy immediately panics and is just like, "Sorry, Amazon, I have your package," before doing his job and leaving very quickly. My wife called me immediately. I laughed hysterically, and the big boy got extra treats when I got home for a job well done.